In this week's Parashas, we learn about the mitzvah of mezuzah. God instructed us to affix a mezuzah on the doorpost of our homes. A mezuzah is a parchment that has two portions of the Torah written on it, beginning with the verse of Shema Yisrael, that God is one. There is a Jewish tradition that when we leave the home and come back, we place our hand on the mezuzah or give it a kiss. What is the significance of having a mezuzah on the doorpost, and why do we put our hand on the mezuzah? There are two reasons for the purpose of a mezuzah. One, that a kosher mezuzah brings God's protection for all the people living in the house. And the second is that when we place our hand on the mezuzah, we remind ourselves of God's presence, since God's name is written in the mezuzah. And when we remind ourselves of God, that impacts our behavior so that we align ourselves to God's will, doing God's mitzvos and staying away from sin. There's a beautiful story in the Talmud of the famous sage Onkelos the convert. He was a relative of the Roman emperor. Once the emperor sent a group of soldiers to go bring him back to Rome because the king was not pleased with Onkelos becoming Jewish. The soldiers came to his house and they were so impressed by his wisdom and nobility that they became Jewish themselves. He sent another group, and when Onkelos walked out of his house, he placed his hand on the mezuzah and he was smiling. And they asked him, "Why are you smiling?" And he said that our king, God, is so different than the worldly kings. The worldly kings, they reside in their palace and their servants are outside protecting the king. But our king is on the outside protecting his servants. So the lesson is that we should try very hard to get kosher mezuzahs for our homes, because that is the best investment that we can do for our homes. Have a wonderful Shabbos.